Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Racha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations, much love and respect to you, Akim, out there, pushing this word out in truth and sincerity. Now, Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, his true name in the ancient Hebrew, and Yahweh Shai is the name of his only begotten Son. Okay, you can only call on the name in the Hebrew because, as the scripture says, there's only one name under heaven whereby we must be saved. Okay, and you have to call on Yahweh through his son's name, Yahweh Shai. And that's for you newcomers that might be first listening to our videos, might first be learning that you are an Israelite. Okay, so, these are things that you have to know, So this lesson here is going to be dealing with, out of these four groups, there's going to be four groups of people mentioned in this video. Now, the question is, out of these four groups, who is your biggest enemy? Okay. See, they're going to mention four types of groups. Okay, we're going to analyze it, and we're going to see out of those four groups, who is your greatest enemy. All right. And it's really two. It's really two of them that are your greatest enemy. It's not just one, it's two. Okay? So I'm going to play this video.
That it was predominantly non-black women who were going. I think there was one live where I heard you say one of your initial classes, one of the first classes you had, or earlier classes you had, you noticed that it was predominantly non-black women who were going in there studying black men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mentioned that on a panel with Obsidian and Kevin Samuels.
Okay.
And I didn't know where that was going to go. Next thing I know, people were calling me because Kevin was saying it on some other show. But that went through stages. So I've been teaching now for about 24 years, and I came to Fresno State about 14 years ago. And I started teaching a black male course because it was needed. I'm looking at these young brothers who were getting accepted, and a lot of them were, dropping out. A lot of them really didn't have any support structure on how to navigate college. They were having, even the conversations I was listening to in the hallways, I was like, okay, if I don't grab some of these young men, they're not only going to be out of here, they might even be arbitrarily locked up behind things some of them don't understand. So I created this class alongside a student group for black males, and began to implement that. And early on, what I found was I had more black women than men, which, numerically is no surprise. That tends to be the case anyway, as far as the enrollment in school. But I started to get fewer and fewer men and more women, because my initial training in my doctorate was as a feminist. I hadn't dealt with gender prior to my doctorate. So one of my primary mentors was ex-Black Panther. She was a feminist. And so I came in with that framework.
So as you can see, he was teaching a course at first, and he was coming with that feminist ideology, which is heavy in the so-called black community. That's a heavy spirit that's in the so-called black community, is the worship of the woman and feminism. Okay, and that's a major part on why the community is completely destroyed, is because Jake has that mentality. Jake has that mentality, specifically the Southern Kingdom. Okay? So, I want to get a particular scripture because this spirit has been around for a long time. Because they came to Yahweh Shai with that same spirit. A particular woman came to Yahweh Shai with that spirit, and he rejected that spirit. He rejected that spirit. This is Luke 11:26. It says, "Then goeth he and taketh to him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they entered in and dwelled there. And the last state of that man is worse than the first. And it came to pass, as he spake these things, a certain woman of the company lifted up her voice and said unto him, Blessed is the womb that bare thee, and the paps which thou hast sucked. So she's saying, blessed be your mother who bore, the same rhetoric. who gave you life, and blessed is the breast which you sucked, and all that, the womb which you came out of. Okay. But he said, yea, rather, meaning actually or better, blessed are they that hear the word of the Most High and keep it. He said, no. You know what's truly blessed? Those men that keep the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai and keep it. That's what he told her. Okay, so he rejected that spirit of feminism, and that spirit has been back even back in that time. Okay, even back in that time, that spirit was there. Okay, but Yahweh Shai wasn't with that, because even when his mother came, and he wasn't a mama's boy, all right? Even when his mother came to see him, he said, right, with I believe his brothers, his other brothers that were not in the truth. Okay, this is Matthew 12 and verse 48. Matter of fact, I'll start at verse 46. It says, while he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him. Then one said unto him, behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. But he answered and said unto him that told him, who is my mother, and who are my brethren? And he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples, all right, and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother. So basically, he kind of he dissed his mother in a sense, not in a major sense, but in the sense of, listen, this is my true family. Okay, the men that are doing the will of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, which is basically reiterating what was said in the previous verse in Luke 11. Okay, she said, oh, blessed be your mother and the peps, what you say. He said, no. Blessed be, okay, blessed be the ones that do the will of the Heavenly Father and keep it. Okay, so he rejected that spirit, because guess what? That spirit was back there. And that goes back to idol worship, by the way. When people have the ankh on their neck, that ankh really represents the vagina. Okay, that ankh represents the vagina. I believe that's the Egyptian culture. And then you have the Vesica Pisces, which the Rastafarians, they put that sign up, okay, which goes back to the worship of the vagina. Okay, so all those things tie back to what? To idol worship, which is against the scriptures, because the scriptures clearly tell you the order of things. It tells you it's the man, then first of all, it's the Most High, then it's Yahweh Shai, then it's the man, then it's the woman. The scriptures clearly tell you the order of things. All right, so now let's get back to this video, because like he said that he was in that feminist spirit at that time. All right, which is prevalent in the Israelite community. Okay, which me personally, I never been in that spirit. Okay, I never ever been in that spirit. Okay, even before the truth, I was never in that spirit. All right, but this is prevalent amongst Jake. Right, Sizzler had that song, "A Black Woman and Child." Right, so it's all about the worship of the woman in the black culture, which is death.
The only way I knew how to deal with gender was through kind of what she taught me. So I'm teaching this black male class using this approach I got in grad school, and I'm watching the numbers of black males dwindle. I'm seeing the black males in my class looking at the ground, just kind of disconnected, and I'm seeing the women more and more excited. And what I realized was that it was becoming a class where the young ladies were using me to finger wag at the men on the campus to kind of nudge them to do what they wanted them to do. So when I started to actually ask the men what their perspectives were, and I started to kind of change the narrative, it was a learning process for me as well as for them. And after a couple of years, I noticed the women stopped coming. The number of black women dropped dramatically.
Right, because he switched the narrative. He started to push something that would build up the men, which they don't want to see you built up. Okay, they want you to be continually broken down, continually accused of this and that, right? You know, you got demons like Cynthia G and people like that, which I can't listen to those people. All right. And they're saying, the black man he's dealing with genocide and pesticide and all type of sides, right? Right. But then the Edomite, he didn't do none of that. Nothing can be can be attributed to the Edomite. He's the best thing walking. So they're just a bunch of walking contradictions and liars. Okay. And they're also slanderers, which that goes into the word the devil, right? Which means to be a slanderer. Okay. A false accuser, in other words. And Eve is tied to that. Eve is heavily tied to that. I just watched a video just earlier, right, on WorldStar, where Eve was calling the police and accusing the man of doing such and such, and he's recording her like, look, I'm not doing none of this shit she's talking about. He's following me, and he was just like, he was walking the other way. He's like, hey, he's following me, and he has a gun, right? And she was trying to accuse him of having a gun on him. So what is that? That's pure. You know what that is? That's pure hate. That's pure hate. That's the same thing them Edomites do, them Karens, okay? That's pure hate, all right? So you just got to think about that, man. And most of them jakes that are locked up in prison, they're locked up behind the end up. They're not locked up behind the Edomite woman. They're locked up behind the end up, okay? So let's continue. Matter of fact, before I even continue, man, because you clearly see they disappeared, right? They ended up disappearing. Because their whole thing was to accuse the man, to get on the man, to curse out the man. But then when the true issues came out, they disappeared. When the true upliftment of the man came up, they disappeared because they're not about that. They're not about uplifting you. This is Micah 7:10. Okay. Matter of fact, yeah, I'll do Micah 7:10 first. It says, "Then she that is mine enemy." Okay, what does enemy mean? Well, I shouldn't even have to tell you what enemy mean, but you know what? We're gonna look it up anyway. Okay, we're gonna look it up because we got time. Okay, we're gonna look it up. That word is ayab, which is, and that's the ancient Hebrew pronunciation, which means enemy, foes, enemy, personal, national. Okay, hating an adversary. Okay, and believe me, they hate you, jigs. Okay, these wicked N-dubs, they're walking around saying that, you know, to basically delete male children, right, and get rid of the so-called black race, or the Israelite race, really. That's really, or the Judite race, or whatever the case may be. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. So that's hate. That's nothing but Edomite supremacist rhetoric. That's the most hateful. Even Esau is thrown back by that hate. So the Edomites is like, damn. All right. So hey, this is the situation that we're in right now, man. Okay. Oh, Salak, did I finish that off? I didn't finish that off. Let me finish that off. Okay. It says, "Then she that is mine enemy shall see it, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, Where is Yahweh thy power? Mine eyes shall behold her, now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the streets." And many brothers are waiting for this day, and this day is shortly approaching, man. We're coming to a day they're going to be groveling on the floor, begging for brothers to deal with them. And trust me, they're going to be getting the cold shoulder. They're going to be getting the cold shoulder. Eve is going to be the least picked. Okay? And for very good reason. Because before, they were the ones that were the least cooperative. They were the most out of order. They were the ones that were completely against you. And as you can see in this video, all right, that's enemy. That's a major enemy behind the so-called white man. And you're going to see it in the video. That's why I told you there's 4 groups that's mentioned in this video. And who is the biggest enemy to you jakes? I'm speaking of specifically the Southern Kingdom. You saw the so-called black man. Okay? Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Specifically them. Okay? You got to understand, them Southern Kingdom is going through the biggest curse. Okay? Southern Kingdom is going through the biggest curse because at least them Latina women are somewhat in order. Like I said, somewhat in order. They're still out of order. But compared to the Judite, you know what I'm saying? They're like angels. They're like nuns compared to the Judites. Okay? Okay, so she's gonna be trodden down as the mire of the street in the times to come. She's gonna be very, very much ashamed in the times to come. Let's continue.
The number of black males started to increase, and then after that, the next couple of years after that, I noticed I started to get this population of white women.
Yeah.
I didn't know why they were there. I didn't know why they were there. And when I began to kind of ask them, in the hallways, under the, why are you taking this class? You have to be careful how you do it. And I started to find, well, my boyfriend is black, and I want to understand him and his family, or I'm trying to date some of the men on the basketball team or football team or whatever, but I don't understand them. So they were doing research. They're getting A's.
Yeah, very smart, very smart.
It's a weird thing where I got to give A+ to white women in a class on black males because they are handling all the homework assignments and reading everything to a T. They're asking me about the citations that were made by the author. I'm like, good Lord. But they were serious. They were doing research, and they were serious about it. And I would say, another 3 or 4 years after that, I noticed the population shifted from, white women to Latinas. And the Latinas were coming in with the same kind of intensity, the same kind of questions, the same motivations. They were.
So you clearly see, right, that Edomite women started to come to the class when they started to be about the upliftment of Jake and whatever the case may be. But they were coming to learn to see what Jake likes. Okay, so one of the things that Eve would say is to try to demonize, they're fetishizing you, which means absolutely nothing. Okay, matter of fact, that I believe that goes into. Matter of fact, let me look that up right now. That word fetish. Okay, let me look that up right now. All right, I'm gonna look it up on my phone and I'm gonna read it out. It means a form of sexual desire in which gratification is linked to an abnormal degree to a particular object, item, clothing, and part of the body. So basically, or the second definition is an inanimate object worshipped for its supposed magical power. So they're looking at you, Jakes, as if you have magical powers, as if you're gods on the earth. Okay, or because it is considered to be inhabited by a spirit. Yeah, the spirit of the Most High. So they look at you, Jakes, like you have the spirit of the Most High on you. And another thing is they're sexually attracted to you. What's wrong with that? Okay, but it goes beyond that. It goes even beyond that, because why would you be studying somebody so deeply if you're just attracted to them? No, they're really into Jake on a higher level. I just want to have sex. Well, that's easy. They can just go outside. They can just put on booty shorts. Okay, or put on some tight leggings, right? Make themselves look pretty, and Jake is gonna holler at you if it's just about sex. That's easy for any woman to get. Okay, so clearly it's beyond that. What Eve tries to do is they try to shame you from not dealing with them, and Jake still has that mentality now. They try to shame you from not dealing with them but they're not trying to change their ways. They're trying to shame you, but then when you deal with them, they give you nothing but pure hell. Okay, they give you nothing but pure hell. But then you go deal with them other chicks. They're cooking this, they're on TikTok doing. They're showing them bringing their man different meals, different. It looks like it's made by a chef. Okay, and you'd be like, damn, right? But then you do in the comment section. It's all these Eves, all these N-dubs. Okay, are you the maid? How can shaming her? Okay, and shaming him. Okay, because they're through. All right, they're through. They're not right in the head, so they're gonna try to shame you for being right. This is why it's you really don't want your woman to be dealing with too much certain type of women, man, because they'll poison the woman so that she could be in the same position as them. Okay, so anyways, let's continue.
We're dating black men, and this is Fresno. We're in Central California.
Yeah.
No, matter of fact, I made a mention, right? Reading that definition. Let me get Psalms the 83rd or the 82nd chapter. Give me 1 second. Psalms 82, because like I said, they look at you, Jakes, as gods on the earth. Okay, this is Psalms 82 and verse 6. It says, I have said that ye are gods, and all of you are children of the Most High. But ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes. Arise, O power, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. See, so the Most High said that what? His children, his sons, are gods on the earth. Okay? And even with all Esau's propaganda, they still look at Jake in that manner to some degree. Okay, especially the women. All right, but then when you deal with, if you go back to the Dark Ages, there's I remember there's one image of an Edomite woman with an Edomite man trying to pull her away, and she's like basically like worshiping the statue of this Jake, and the Edomite man's mad trying to pull her away. You see, so without that propaganda, man, these Edomites wouldn't have a chance, man. You see how that works? So clearly, this is nothing that foreign, because Jake is the most desired in the earth. In every amongst all women, there's a society of women or communities of women that only deal with Jake. Okay, and I've seen this, man. There's a society of them that only deal, and I don't care where you go. You could go down to the Aborigines, man. Okay, you go down to the Aborigines in Australia. There's a particular segment of them that only deal with Jake. Okay? So, who's the one that's really going to lose out in the end? Okay? And they're the least desired. They are because they see that you're not feminine, right? And by the way, Esau can, even the Edomite, even your Zaddy, the Edomite, the devil, okay, the serpent, he can see that the fake femininity in you. He could, listen, everyone sees the fakeness, man. Okay, because you have to be brought up that way. You have to be that way from the time you were a child, brought all the way up. Okay, them so-called Latinas in South America, they're raised like that from a youth up. They're raised to be women from the youth up. Okay, matter of fact, Salakia, man, let's do something here. Give me a second. Give me a quick second. Let's do Sirach. Let's go to Sirach. Salakia. Let's do Sirach. Give me 1 second. Sirach. I want to do Sirach 26 first. Sirach 26 and verse 14. Oh, Salakia. Sirach 26 and verse 14. We're gonna do it like this first, because we're gonna show you what a true woman is. All right, because the ones that are the furthest from this is the kingdom of Judah. Okay, and that's all. They trust me. Benjamin ain't no different, or in some cases worse. Have you seen them? Have you ever witnessed them Jamaican women speak and get mad? They're super masculine, man. Okay. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, bro. So, KJV. I like KingJamesOnline.org. I don't like those other sites that much. So, this is Ecclesiasticus 26 in verse. I'll start at verse 13. It says, "The grace of a wife delighteth her husband." And they don't have any grace. Okay, let's look up the word grace. Okay, they do not have grace in general. All right, I'll say in general. I'm not going to say every single one of them, but I'm saying in general. Simple elegance or refinement of movement. Okay. Courteous goodwill. They don't have that. Their mentality is all about themselves. It's all about self-care and this and that. That's all about self. Their whole mentality is about self. It's not about family. It's not about their husband. It's not about any of that. Okay, it's not community, the nation. No, it's about their self. So they don't have goodwill. Okay, you see what I'm saying? And what does it say? Elegance, refinement. See, it said poise, finesse, charm, elegance. You know, politeness, manners, good manners, and they definitely don't have no good manners. You could open the door for a lot of these hoes, and that goes for any one of them hoes, any nation of them hoes. They don't even say thank you a lot of times, man. So sometimes I just let the door close, man, because that's the level of arrogancy the women are in this society. Okay, dignified. No, they're not. Okay, so let's deal with this. Do honor or credit to someone or something by one's presence. Dignified. Let's see if they're dignified. Is twerking in a restaurant, is that dignified? Is walking around with spandex pants on, is that dignified? Is being loudmouth, cursing out your man in public, is that dignified? Is that having dignity? Getting all kind of deletions of children, is that dignity? Sleeping with all kind of men, is that dignity? Is that being distinguished? Is that honorable? And the answer is no. And by the way, and the one you could really thank for all this wickedness going on in this society, you could thank the so-called white man. You could thank Esau Edom, because he's the one that propagated this madness, this pseudo culture. Okay, that they pushed on Jake. Okay, they pushed on Jake through what? Through the damn hip hop music, that goddamn rap music, and all kind of other methods, man. Propaganda, magazines, and so on and so forth, man. All right. So let's continue.
Black and Latino relationships here are not a strange thing by any measure.
Okay, let me pull that back a bit.
The population shifted from white women to Latinas, and the Latinas were coming in with the same kind of intensity, the same kind of questions, the same motivation. They were dating black men, and this is Fresno. We're in Central California, so
yeah. No,
Black and Latino relationships here are not a strange thing by any measure. So yeah.
Well, why are so-called Black Latino relationships not a strange thing? Because we're all Israelites. That's why it's not a strange thing. Okay, because we're all the same people of different tribes.
And go back to your early, because I said this is kind of what this conversation was born out of. This whole topic of grabbing your passport and SYSBMs and the controversy behind that. And it's like, you're literally telling me that you had a class that was dedicated to black men, where black women have an opportunity to study their men, understand what they're going through, understand how to relate to them better. And instead of us doing that, you have other women of other ethnic groups, other races going in, taking notes, using that as ammo to get the quote unquote best men out there. Yeah. So it's like, how can you compete with that? This is based upon what you just said. It's like, this is why they are winning our men. If that is such a big complaint, this is why these other women, white women, Latinas, Asians, this is why they are winning or stealing, however you want to put it, our men, because they're actually interested in their interest.
And another thing is, they actually value them more. They actually value Jake more than, or the Kingdom of Judah more than the Kingdom of Judah woman values Judah. All right. Now, and a lot of these Judites, they don't value themselves. Just one of them Jakes will deal with certain type of women, and they might deal with a fat woman or whatever. They might deal with a woman that's constantly disrespecting him, and he might stay or whatever the case may be. And they just got like a low look at a view of themselves, because, and that goes into also Jake looking at each other negative and shooting each other and things like that. That's also a reflection, a projection of how they feel about themselves because of their mama. All right, their mama, even though they might not have directly told them, yo, you ain't shit, although that happens a lot. And I got aunts that act like that towards their child. Okay, so their children. All right, now another thing is that the whole mentality behind it is like, you got to treat a woman like this and like that and like this, but they don't ever tell you how a woman should be treating you. They never show you an example of how a woman should be treating you. They're only telling you how you should be catering to the woman and this and that. Don't cheat on the woman, all this extra shit. So what is that pushing? That's pushing the vibration of feminism. Okay, and that's why he said that at the beginning, Jake wasn't gravitating to the class when he was pushing that feminist doctrine, because it's like, yo, it doesn't connect with them. You see, and they grew up hearing all that madness because their moms was demons. All right, they couldn't keep a man because they were not right. All right, And what proves that men would stay if they had some orders that going back to the 70s, right? But prior to the 70s, rather, you Judite women were the most married. Okay, you were the most married. But then what did you do? You gravitated to the femism. Okay, and then you completely destroyed the family structure and destroyed the family, which that was a plot from the Edomite, from the devil, from Satan. And that's how Satan operates. And that's another thing. Nobody is really addressing the elephant in the room or the root cause of the problem, which are these Edomites. Because Esau understands this. He understands this. I'm going to show you what scripture he understands. This is Mark 3:27. All right. As a matter of fact, I'll start at verse 26. And if Satan rise up against himself, no, matter of fact, Salakia, let's deal with verse 27. I'll go to the point. It says, no man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he will first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. Right? So the man represents the strength. When you go into the ancient Hebrew, you got the which is the symbol of the cattle head, which represents strength, the ox head, right? And then you got the Ba, which represents the house, Bayath, which represents the house. Okay, so you got Abba, the strength of the house. That's where you get the word father from. That's the man. So what Esau did was he took the man out of the house by his different propaganda, pushing it towards you women because you're the weaker vessel, and you ate that up. You ate that right up. Okay, you ate all that right up, and then what he was able to do was he was able to continue pushing propaganda and indoctrinate you and pushing madness into your minds because the father wasn't there to stop that madness. Okay. There's one Latina chick that was on her show as well, and she made a very good statement. She was making a lot of good statements. That's a cool woman, right? That's a smart woman. Okay, that Latina woman that was on her show, one of them shows she did with the Latina woman. Okay, it shows you the mentality of the Latin tribes compared to the Judite woman. But anyways, she said that women are energy and children are energy. She understands that women and children are somewhat similar, and then she said. She said men are focused energy, and that those two energies need men to put them in focus, or it would be chaos. This is what you have in the so-called black community, is flipping chaos. That's why you have this damn Glorilla. You know, she's one of the new idols, right? And the idols are just getting worse. And she sound like a man. She looked like a damn iguana. All right. She got tattoos all over herself, and she's speaking nothing but pure wickedness, nothing but pure evil. Nothing she says is positive. Not one thing she says. What she's gonna push is mostly, and dubs, they look up to her because they're simple-minded. Okay, they're simple. They don't know right from wrong. That's why you need men. But hey, they're too far gone. I'm gonna tell you right now, they're too far gone. Them American westernized Eves, they're too far gone. They're way out. They're way too far gone. Okay. And they're not looking to give up what the serpent has offered them. They're not looking to give that up. But don't worry, the Lord is going to strip all of that away. Hold on now. Hold on. Let's do something. Let's get Isaiah the 32nd chapter. Let's get Isaiah the 32nd chapter. I'm going to show you what the Lord said. Because the Lord said he's going to strip all that away. Okay, so you can keep being proud, man. Actually, it kind of like it's kind of weird because I kind of like it, you know. It gets you mad, but then you at the same time I'm like, yeah, okay, we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see. It's gonna make, because I know it's gonna make it that much more sweet when everything happens, man. When everything happens, man. All right. And I remember there's one time, man, I went to go. There was two, because there was a time even when I knew the truth. There was a time I wasn't out preaching at that time, but I knew the truth, and I was keeping the high holy days, so on and so forth. But I remember there, this happened a lot for me. I like to big up the Kingdom of Judah woman. I like to, see a so-called black woman, so-called dark skin, whatever the case may be, and I would like to holler at them opposed to the other woman to show, no, you're beautiful and ray, because I know the society they might feel away in the society or whatever the case may be. So I used to be in that spirit. And what you get from them when you do that is you get nothing but disrespect. And I mean some high level disrespect. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I'm trying to big them up, man. I'm trying to make sure, I'm trying to make them feel beautiful and things of that nature. But that doesn't work with them. That doesn't work with them. And I remember there's this one particular situation, man. And there was a Eve on the bus in the back, and there was a so-called Latina in the more in the front, and they were both looking at me and smiling. So basically I had a choice to make. Who was I gonna? Because I was constantly, this was nothing for me to. It's not for me to go holler at a chick or whatever. That was nothing to me. I was always doing that, bro. I used to do that day in and day out, But at the end of the day, right, I had a choice to make. I was like, oh, am I going to deal with the Latina? I'm going to deal with the dark skin. Because they were both pretty women. They're both beautiful, right? But I said, you know what? I'm going to go with the so-called Judite. I'm going to go with the so-called Judite looking woman because you know what? I don't want her to think that, I'm picking the light skin over her. And then I went to this bitch, and this fucking demon was being a complete asshole, man. All right. Well, first she was talking and this and that, but then after a while she started to get an attitude and act like she was on a high level. And in my head, I'm like, yo, I just wasted my fucking time. I should have just went with the pretty Latina, man. Okay. All right. I should have just went with a pretty Latina because truth be told, she was a little bit prettier than her anyway. All right. So, but you see what I'm saying? So this is what you get when you try to do that. This is what you get. Okay. So this is why, hey, the best thing to do is just, hey, you make your own decisions, man. But the thing is, Isaiah 4:1 is on its way. Isaiah 4:1 is on its way. So let me get this, Salakia. This is Isaiah 32:2. It says, and a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind. What does that mean? A hiding place from the destruction getting ready to happen. Okay, because if you don't have a man in the times to come, bro, you're just gonna be like a sheep in the midst of a pack of hungry lions, wolves, and hyenas. That's what you're gonna be as a woman by herself, just in the midst of the chaos and the basically the anarchy that's getting ready to ensue in this earth. Because Esau wants to bring chaos before he brings his form of so-called order, which is tied to the MOTB. And a covert from the tempest as rivers of water in a dry place. These women are going to be thirsty. They're going to look at you like a river of water, man. Okay, they're going to be thirsty. You see, they have that term thirsty. That's spiritual. Because listen to what I'm reading right here, man. Let me read this again so you can understand what I'm trying to say. And a man shall be as a hiding place from the wind, and a covert from the tempest, as rivers of water in a dry place. They're going to be very thirsty, brothers. Thirstiest you ever seen. The finest chicks you ever seen, they're going to be thirsty. As the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. Why? Because they're going to be basically begging to get with you. Okay? And trust me, just because you're pretty or you're bad, that's not going to help you. That's going to make me look at you even more funny, because you know what? The worst type is those ones that are bad. Because they had the most pride, they had the most bodies, they're the most nasty in this particular society. They got all kind of diseases, all right? Because they got too much flipping options and too much liberty, okay? Well, what are you going to do if you put a kid in a big candy spot where he can eat as much chocolate as he wants, as much candy as he wants, as much cheeseburgers and french fries as he wants? That kid is going to get sick. Okay, if you just leave him to himself, because he's just going, oh, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat that, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat that. He's going to get, and leave him in there for a month. All right, he's going to get all kind of cavities, and he might have gained like 20 pounds. All right, and his arteries will be all clogged up. Why? Because you left a child to himself. It's the same thing with these women. Esau has left them to themselves to do what they want to do. Okay, this is Isaiah 32:9. Rise up, ye women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters. Give ear to my speech. Many days and years shall ye be troubled, ye careless women. For the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. What you think is getting ready to come for you, planning for the future and this and that. Oh yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go back to college. I'm going to do that and this. All of that is going to come to an abrupt halt. Okay? Remember, I tell you, all of that is going to come to an abrupt halt. Tremble, ye women that are at ease, be troubled, ye careless ones, strip you and make you bare. You're very, very careless. Very, very, especially the so-called black woman. She is the most careless out of all of them. They don't think about the future. They think about what their emotions tell them this particular time. They don't think about the consequences. They just do. Okay? That's why that's Satan's favorite vehicle. It says, strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins, which represents mourning. They shall lament for the teats, all right, which goes into the benefits, okay, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine. Okay, all right. Says that which you thought, Canada was plenteous, America was plenteous, London was plenteous, where you were at a particular time. Well, guess what? You're gonna lament for the different benefits you would get, whether it's child support or your little job that you got. Listen, the scriptures say that the grinding shall cease, meaning the work is going to stop, man. You don't see Amazon laying off all kind of people, man. Huh? You don't see, listen, the work is about to stop. It's about to cease. There's about to be a whole lot of layoffs happening, man. Okay, then it's going to get to the point where it's survival of the fittest. And we're going to see if you got an attitude in that day. We're going to see what kind of attitude you got in that day. Well, I'm going to show you what kind of attitude that's going to be prevalent in that day with all you so-called top independent, and I ain't taking no shit from nobody, and then I'll leave him in a second. Blah, blah, bleezy, blah, blah, blue, blue. Good. Keep that same energy. Please keep that same energy. This is Isaiah 4, and keep that to your death. All right? And believe me, you're going to be embarrassed in that time. You're going to be embarrassed. You're going to be scrutinized. If we don't perceive that you were a woman that was, believed in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai from before, or was just complete, just a chaste woman, a decent woman from back in the day, then we are not dealing with you. Okay? Listen, you're going to be heavily scrutinized. This is Isaiah 4 and verse 1. It says, and in that day, well, isn't it harder to get into a stock after it blows up? Right? Stock might have started at $5 a share, and then it makes a deal with Microsoft and Nike, and it goes through the roof. Well, now it's not going to be $5 a share. Now it might be $500 a share. So it's going to be harder for you to attain, right? It's going to be harder to attain. This is Isaiah 4 and 1. It says, and in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man. That's called polygyny. All right, 7 of y'all, which represents completion, is gonna grab onto one man. You can say, I would never deal. When you go on Fresh and Fit, I would never deal with another. No, he can't have no other woman. I would just leave, and I'm not dealing with that. And they did blah. That's that Edomite mindset. That's the so-called white man taught you that madness. Because on the west coast of Africa, that's normal. Okay, in the ancient world, that was normal for a man to have multiple wives. Well, our forefathers, Jacob, right? He had Leah, Rachel, and then he had the Bilhah and the other concubine. Okay, so he had multiple women that he was dealing with. Abraham, he had multiple women that he was dealing with. You see what I'm saying? King Solomon, King David. You understand what I'm saying? So our forefathers, that was normal. That's how you truly build a society, by the way. But not the pride in these chicks. But all of that is gonna change up, man. All of it's gonna change up. It's gonna go back to the old ways. All right. It says we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. See, so you're gonna say, he gotta make $100K a year. You gotta be 6 feet tall. No, they said we're gonna eat our own bread. We're gonna find our food for ourselves. We're gonna wear our own clothes. You don't have to buy me anything. Only let us be called by thy name. Only let me just deal with me. Okay, make me your woman, to take away our reproach. Now let's look up this word reproach. Okay, so they ain't gonna be asking for whether you make such and such amount of money or this, and does he have clout on Instagram? Oh, let me see your Instagram and all that nonsense. Because in this society, you gotta have clout, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. They want you to be like them. Listen, men are not vain by nature. All right, so we're not supposed to be that vain, right? It says the creature was subject to vanity, but we're not supposed to be as vain as the women are. So we have a different mindset about us. You understand what I'm saying? So ultimately, they're trying to make you like them, okay? To be focused on Instagram and taking pictures and this and that and all this nonsense. You know? It says reproach, scorn, taunt, scorn upon an enemy. Because men are gonna, you know what? Men are gonna be going in on these hoes in that time. Like, you bitches, I thought you were independent. Did it go fuck out? Yo, they're gonna get some words, man. They're gonna get some words, because trust me, there's a lot of scorned men out here, bro. A lot. That's why you think the red pill movement, that thing is so heavy, man. All right, so there's gonna be a lot of dudes just going in, man. A lot of dudes going in that time. A lot of dudes, even while you're falling, them dudes are, even now, they're going in on you. So imagine when it gets to that point where you're going to have to really go and gravel to get a man. And you know Esau ain't dealing. You know Esau don't give a damn about you. You're going to find out the so-called white man don't give a shit about you in that day. Okay, you will find out, man. Because that time he's not going to have to be politically correct. He's going to show you how he feels about you. And you being the least dateable woman on the earth, guess what? Who you going to run to? Who can I run to? Huh? Who you going to run to, man? All right, you're going to run right to Jake. You're going to run right to Judah. You're going to run right to Benjamin. You're going to run right to the Levites. You're going to run right to the southern kingdom Israelites. And what are you going to get? You're going to get a great big middle finger. So that's called reproach. That's reproach. That's taunt. That's to taunt, scorn upon enemy. Reproach resting upon condition of shame, disgrace. A reproach, an object. So listen, man, that time is coming, man, and we can't wait for that time. That time is gonna be so sweet. That time is gonna be like Manuka honey, man. It's gonna be so sweet. All right, so let's let's continue, man. Let's continue with this video, man. Let's get back to this video.
Like I said, it goes back to, when I asked you a few minutes ago, I was like, why are black men asking for so little? And then you go in to say, well, they're kind of used to that. They're socialized for that. There's all these complicated dynamics. And if you meet somebody,
bring that back a bit,
have other women of other ethnic groups, other races going in, taking notes, using that as ammo to get the quote unquote best men out there. Yeah. So it's like, how can you compete with that? This is based upon what you just said. It's like, this is why they are winning our men. If that is such a big complaint, this is why these other women, white women, Latinas, Asians, this is why they are winning or stealing, however you want to put it, our men, because they're actually interested in their interest. Like I said, it goes back to, when I asked you a few minutes ago, I was like, why are black men asking for so little? And then you go in to say, well, they're kind of used to that. They're socialized for that. There's all these complicated dynamics. And
the bottom line is like what I said before. Jake doesn't value himself, and that goes back to this damn black culture that has been created in their mamas, basically pushing in their mind that, and even their pops, because it was taught to them, okay, that the woman is this and that, and basically you ain't nothing but a wallet. So Jake doesn't value himself. Jake doesn't value Esau. He values himself, because Esau, that's why the women, they know they gotta come in shape and whatever the case may be. But he values himself because look at the TV. Look at everything that's on the TV. Look at all the for hundreds. The propaganda has been pushed for at least hundreds of years, right? Dealing with Esau, and he did this, he did that, and really when you look into it, Jake is the one that makes the society run, who made all these inventions and things of that nature. But we're not even going to get into that right now. But Esau has a high self-esteem because of that. You see what I'm saying? But you Jakes are taught the exact opposite. Okay? You Jakes are taught the exact opposite about yourself. And like I said, that's the enemy. So you're living with the enemy. The enemy is teaching you about yourself. And hey, you got to treat them like this is actual warfare that you're in right now. And they're compromised. They're working with the Edomite. They're working with the other side. They're not working on your side. Okay, Jake is out here on the solo dolo.
And if you meet somebody who you're asking for breadcrumbs and they give you a sandwich, it's like,
oh yeah, oh, yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
whoa, what is this? You know?
No, Patrice O'Neal, one of my favorite comedians, he had a whole bit where he talked about the power of okay, like having women that actually say okay. You know, can you give me a glass of water? Okay, and he was like, you know, it was mind blowing to hear a woman say it. And as funny as it was, and I remember I would listen to Patrice and all the women in my family, because I'd wait till Thanksgiving. And then I'd sit there and listen to Patrice, and you know, the women would get more and more quiet, laugh less and less, and I would laugh more and more because he was tapping into something that I didn't know I was frustrated about. I didn't know I was curious about, and he was kind of gently raising these concerns. But one of the things he joked about in that moment was, you know, just what it feels like to have somebody that is, you know, not only cooperative, but will happily so, you know, and just something as subtle as that, you know. And so, yeah, when you talk about the different groups of women that were coming to the class and they're involved in deep conversations in the classes about relationships, they're asking questions, you know, it was a whole different dynamic.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's a lot. And when Jake deals with the Edomite or the other, they're basically like, wow, you know what I mean? Because they've been dealing with the N-Dub so long, and the N-Dub don't give you shit. The N-Dub ain't like, yo, they don't give you nothing. All right, they don't give you anything worthwhile. All right, so when they go with them, it's like, wow, it's like a culture shock. You know what I'm saying? It's like a culture shock, and you didn't realize that that's what you were missing. You know. So, hey, a lot of them Jakes, man, trust me, I don't envy no Jake. When I see them relationships, I don't envy none of them Jakes. Because you look at those Jakes' faces a lot of times, they look depressed. They look like they're in captivity, man. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, and I'm gonna show you something. Let me go to the previous, not verse, but the previous chapter. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus 25. All right. So Ecclesiasticus 25 in verse 22. And I never really get all the scriptures that I have a plan to get, but you know, the spirit goes where it needs to go. It says, this is Ecclesiasticus 25 and verse 16. Matter of fact, I'll start at verse 15. It says, there is no head above the head of a serpent, and there is no wrath above the wrath of an enemy. And now I'm telling you, they are an enemy. That's why they'll delete your children just to hurt you. They'll keep you from your children, right? That's wrath right there. And there's another scripture, I believe it might be here. There's no wound but a wound of an enemy. You see what I'm saying? Or the Lord said, I wounded you with a wound of an enemy, which is a serious wound. You know, that's a wound to take you out. And that's what they do. They try to take you out, and they try to find certain things about you to use against you to try to crush you. And that's why there's a scripture that says, teach not your wife an evil lesson about thyself, because you got to treat them like the enemy. You got to treat them like, whoa, you got to keep the distance, you know. It's like a love-hate. It's like a love but a distrust type relationship. All right, it's like, you know, okay, yeah, like, I mean, I trust you, but not really. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love you, but I know you ain't really with me like that. You understand what I'm saying? This is what it is. Okay, this is what it is. That's why you gotta watch your mouth. You know, it says, I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than to keep house with a wicked woman. And this is where most of these jakes are living with. And me, I'm not dealing with no out of order shit in my own house. You crazy? Hey, but that's why certain brothers is single. You know, that's why certain brothers ain't giving certain brothers women for these particular reasons. You know, it says, the wickedness of a woman changeth her face and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth. Her husband shall sit among his neighbors, and when he heareth it, shall sigh bitterly. Right? Because of what? How she goes on, how she acts. All right? You know, she might be twerking on damn Instagram. She might be doing some type of wickedness, speaking against her husband, like young Jock's wife, cursing him out on national TV, telling him, you No, basically disrespecting him, dishonoring him on national TV, because they don't care. They don't give a damn, and they think they're in the right. So that's like, why would you want to deal with a woman like that? I don't see why you want to say, I'm gonna stick by her, you know. Personally, I don't get it. I don't get why you'd want to even deal with a woman like that. That's like, yo, go get you. I mean, you're famous, bro. Go get you some next thing. Go get you a deal with another thing, man. Say, listen, man, you're obsolete at this point. Because if she's willing to disrespect you on national TV, then she really don't give a shit about you. Okay? It says, all wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. As the climbing up a sandy way is to the feet of the aged, so is a wife full of words to a quiet man. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman, and desire her not for pleasure. Okay, meaning what? You don't just look at her because she has a fat, big booty and a big breast. Hey, I'm a deal with her. No, don't be enamored by that. Don't be hypnotized by that. Okay, you got to say, okay, what is this woman really about? All right. Usually you'll find out it's about iniquity. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. All right. So meaning what? If you got a woman that's paying the bills and this and that, this and the third, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not contributing, all right, then guess what? She's gonna start to be she's gonna be full of anger, man. She's gonna look down on you. All right, that's just how it naturally is. Okay, that's why you're supposed to be the man and take care of your own business and take care of certain things. Okay, to the best of your ability. And really, if me personally, I would rather just take care of, you know, the brunt. You know what I'm saying? The lion's share, so to speak, and so on and so forth. That's just how I would want to have things, you know. Because other than that, you know, Satan will enter in. You know, try to keep Satan at bay as much as possible. You know, and really a man is supposed to provide anyway. So the whole point is the point that I made earlier, dealing with the did I get to that point? Right, it's like climbing up a sandy hill. But no, there's another one. Hold on, there's another point that I wanted to make here too. It's another point in verse. No, it's not this. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, it's the next verse, Salakia. It says, a wicked woman, this is it. This is a major point here. A wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh an heavy countenance, and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. This is why Jake is all messed up in the head. You know, when they look like when they're with their woman, they look like they're in captivity because they're wicked. All right, and they're not uplifting their man. They're not doing none of that. They're not comforting their man. You know, and it really, what happens, it makes a man weak in the spirit. Okay, instead of uplifting and strengthening the man to make him strong and, you know, to do certain things, you make him weak in the spirit. This is how they operate. This is how the NW operates. But if you were to go deal with the Edomite or another nation, all right, then guess what? You know, you might get some form of upliftment, and you will become a better man. You know, you would become better at what you do, so to speak, or whatever it is that you do for work or whatever the case may be. You see, but they help bring you down. Let's go.
Do you think the concern was? Do you think that it was genuine, or do you think something?
And I'm not speaking about this woman in particular because I don't know this woman, but I'm speaking about the NW. You know, her kind. Okay, but
because I see some in the comments like, oh, they were kind of using it as ammo just for fetishization, but they don't see them as real men deserving of love or respect.
Cap.
I mean, do you think you saw some of that woman using that as a way to try to manipulate better? Do you think there was a genuine?
Like I said, I've been teaching for 24 odd years, and I can tell you the way they came to the discussions, the way they participated. Yeah, there was a lot of genuine, you know, kind of behavior, a lot of reflexivity. They're talking about their experiences. They're asking questions with a kind of genuine, you know, kind of sensibility about it. I don't think any of it was really performed in that way. I think what threw everybody was just that anybody was interested in even having the dialogue. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they were coming to class looking for boyfriends in the class. You know, they were coming to class to learn about black men because of the black men they were already dealing with. So, you know, so it was a different kind of sensibility, and there was an earnestness to the dialogues that were happening that even black men weren't used to. And it was kind of a strange thing. It wasn't negative by any means, but it was different, because when black women were the majority of the class, a lot of it was very argumentative. A lot of it was very critical of black men. I mean, I remember there was one class very early on where this young man had come out the military. He's over 6'3". He's, you know, well developed muscularly. He's almost done with his degree, and he was a virgin. He was a Christian. He was a virgin, and you know, he mentioned that in class, and the entire class of women went off on him and were trying to emasculate him at every turn. And I actually had to stop them because they weren't about to stop themselves.
But that's how the NW does. You know, they try to emasculate you. You know, but don't worry, they're gonna get their dose of reality. You know,
like, you know, why would you come to I mean, picture that. Picture a class on black women where the majority of the class are black men who come to talk about how horrible black women are. Like, when would you see that actually happen? You know what I mean?
No, would it?
And then everybody's tearing into one woman because she hasn't had sex yet. You know what I mean? It was that kind of dynamic, but the level of low-key hostility, what Kevin used to call low boiling contempt, was so palpable that when that shifted over in the next couple of years, it was a strange thing to notice. Like, so even if there were somehow you know, chameleons that were getting over on us or whatever, the level of hostility, and it was far less than what it had been. So, you know, it was strange. But I can tell you the class has been an interesting kind of lesson in racial dynamics, because white men made their appearance too. And they made their appearance in the form of a military recruiter and a police detective who came to arrest one of the students. So, so if you look at it symbolically, you have white men, black women, and Hispanic and Latino women who have all made their presence felt. And the most hostile were black women and white men to the very idea of studying black men. Right? The military recruiter wanted to take these men out of college and put them in the military. And of course, the detective wanted to arrest somebody. The black women wanted to denigrate the men in the class and finger wag. And then you had white women and Latinas who wanted to take notes and ask questions.
So that's back to my question. Out of these four groups of people, who is your biggest enemies? Out of these four groups of people, I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to bring it right back. Okay? And by the way, like I said, man, the kingdom of Judah, Benjamin, Levi, especially Judah, is going through the biggest curse. They're catching the brunt of the curse, because one of the major things is that, you know, our woman is completely Satan. Because if you got your woman there, then it might, you know, could make the curses a bit easier, so to speak, you know. But nah, bro, we ours is the absolute worst of the worst. You see what I'm saying? So, hey, Judah's catching it from all sides, man. All sides. The Esau has attacked Judah's image the worst. Okay, he has attacked the woman's mind. Our women are completely against us. Okay, you see, even the other tribes is against us. Okay, so this is a complete attack on all sides, man. And that's why the Lord said what? He's going to raise the tents of Judah first. And Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise, man. You understand what I'm saying? Well, it starts with Yahweh Shai, but hey, man. The head tribe Judah and then the kingdom of Judah. Hey, that curse is heavy.
You tell me.
So like, let me run that back, because that was heavy what he just said.
White men made their appearance too, and they made their appearance in the form of a military recruiter and a police detective who came to arrest one of the students. So, so if you look at it symbolically, you have white men, black women, and Hispanic and Latino women who have all made their presence felt. And the most hostile were black women and white men to the very idea of studying black men. Right? The military recruiter wanted to take these men out of college and put them in the military. And of course, the detective wanted to arrest somebody. The black women wanted to denigrate the men in the class and finger wag. And then you had white women and Latinas who wanted to take notes and ask questions. You tell me, who's the most hostile out of that?
It's so sad to hear that, because it's like I hear these comments all the time in my page where, essentially men are venting and they're like, Black women sold us out to white supremacy, or, Black women, they're the biggest white supremacists. So, essentially things on that line. And it's like, I'm never quick to just paint a broad stroke and just say, well, all Black men are this or all Black women are that, because I'm like, that's just simply not my experience, right? But it's like, at the same time, what you mentioned, a class that was supposed to be about Black male studies, and when you initially started, the paradigm and what was so comfortable at that moment for everybody was to essentially just blame Black men. It didn't sound like it was comfortable or even expected to have a honest conversations about, hey, maybe men have struggled, where they have been victimized, and how that's impacted the family. Because it's like, in a community is made up of men and women. So both bring stuff to the table. And I'm
gonna say something too, because when you look at the even in this Israelite in the truth, the main ones that are out making videos telling what the men they need to do, and the demons hopping on them saying, you need to do this and that, is who? Is the so-called Black woman. I don't see any Latin tribe women. I haven't seen none. I haven't seen any popping up talking about, you need to do this and that, you need to teach like this. They're more in order. It's always someone that looks like this woman here that's hopping up under video. Shalom, Israel. And I gotta get on you camps for you teaching hate to the white man, and or you need to accept the sisters more, and blah 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 blah. It's always someone that looks like this. I never see no Latin tribe look like she come like a Zebulonite, an Asherite. Okay. As a matter of fact, most of the Asherite sisters I met, all right, was cool as hell. All right, they popped up. They gave good energy by the camp. Most of the ones that have that hostile energy, that energy of pure hate, mostly is this. Okay, this one. Even the Edomite, even while we're at the camp, even the Edomite women look and smile at us, bro. It's always been like that, brother. It's always been like that. Even out in the camp, calling Esau, Edom, the devil. I've had Edomite women come up to the camp and talk to me, and I'm telling her all this stuff dealing with the scriptures. And brothers like, she was trying to get with you, and yeah, she was trying to get with, but she wasn't giving me no negative energy. All right, she wasn't giving me any negative, but the brunt of the negative energy, you already know. They pass, they give you a look like ugh, like that type of look. You know what I'm saying? And the first time I went out to go preach, and I was scared as hell. I was shaking, because I'm going out by myself. I was out by myself. I had to, I was there. It's the first time I'm going out speaking. The Spirit just got on me, but I'm scared, so I'm actually shaking. But I'm speaking, through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shai. He kept me, he sustained me, And the first person that popped up to look and laugh and call their friends to look and laugh was the end up. All right, so listen, man, we see what's going on here, man. The biggest, trust me, out of all the women, the biggest judgment is going to be upon the end up. We know this, okay? But let's continue.
I honestly am quite sick of the conversation that I've heard for a long time, where it's like, it's just all Black men's fault. No, I'm not saying that, there haven't been Black men out there and there haven't been things that can be improved. You literally have channels of Black men talking about the different issues that Black men do to themselves. But it's like I think this culture of, again, you can't also go shine the light on women, or you're being misandrist, or you're being, everything other than the son of God. Like, it's just really not healthy. And, again, going back to when I asked this simple question, how to support Black men practically, and I was shocked and not shocked at the response and the behavior, and it resonated with me so much. And I thought, even when I'm thinking about this different conversation in the Pygmy space and the different, female content creators that I love what they're doing, and I love how we're having this conversation. But I'm thinking, I don't think any of us have been trained or taught or know what it means to lean in and say, okay, well, what are their interests? Because we can talk about it. Like I said, the last week or two, I've heard women talking about the best interests of Black men, which I think is good. We should have the conversation. But how many of us know how to listen?
Well, and not only listen not to argue.
When pain says you can't, fight it 2 ways with new Advil Plus acetaminophen. Ibuprofen.
Okay, so Shalom. So Salakia. Inshallah, I almost forgot I was actually making a video for a second. But yeah, so that's the conclusion, you know. So you can actually you can actually check it out, you know. I'll leave the link in the description to this video. Lord's will I remember. And yeah, so that's basically what I had, you know, showing you that that this is a major curse upon the nation, you know. So actually, you know what, there's still a couple more scriptures I want to get, and I'm going to get Deuteronomy 28 dealing with the curses, because this is nothing more than a curse. Okay, this is nothing more than a curse. This is Deuteronomy 28 in verse 56. It says, the tender and delicate women among you, which, when we already know the Edomite is our enemy, we don't got to go into that. We go into that all the time. We already know that's the enemy. Okay, we're focusing on the end up right now. The tender and delicate women among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness, tenderness, because they were feminine at one point, believe it or not. Her eye shall be evil toward her husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and that's what's happening. And I just seen another article as well that, you know, the woman stabbed up her 2 sons, and you always hear that, you know, drowning their sons, do this and that, or whatever, drowning their daughters, or whatever the case may be, you know, and you already see what they do to the husbands, you know. So it's a terrible dynamic, you know. And then look at the deletion of children, the rate they do it the most. And toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith the enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. Okay, and we're coming to that time as well, all right, of great famine. So that thing is gonna happen again, and it's happened many times before. But even before that, they're doing all this wickedness to their children. Okay, all this wickedness to their husband, you know. So, you know, how much colder is it going to get in that time, you know. So let's get Amos 7. This is Amos 7 and verse 17. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord, thy wife shall be an harlot in the city, and thy sons and thy daughters shall fall by the sword, and our wives are harlots in the cities. You don't even really have a wife. You don't really have, you know, you just have someone that you're dealing with. Okay, we're in a hookup culture. Okay, we're in a, you know, you're just the person that you're dealing with at that particular time. Because when you met her, guaranteed she had other men on the line that she was talking to and most likely having sex with. Okay, and thy land shall be divided by line, and thou shalt die in a polluted land, and Israel shall surely go into captivity forth of his land. Okay, let's deal with Isaiah 3. Now, I'm going to read the title. It says what? Judah's woman denounced. It specifically targets the southern kingdom woman. And this is dealing with the southern kingdom in general. Okay, because they all got this curse. All of them. I'm talking about Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. No, just Judah. No, it's not just Judah. Okay? It's not just Judah. All right? It's Judah, Benjamin, and Levi who got this curse on them. Okay? This is Isaiah 3 and 16. It says, moreover, Yahweh saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, meaning what? Proud, arrogant. Okay? They think too highly of themselves. And walk with stretched forth necks and wanton eyes, walking and mincing as they go, and making a tinkling with their feet. Therefore, the Lord will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and Yahweh will discover their secret parts. Meaning what? He's going to make them bald-headed. He's gonna put a curse upon their hair. That's why they can't grow here. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, they all can't grow here. Okay, they all gotta wear weave and all these different things. But then they're still proud as hell. So imagine if they had long hair. Imagine if all of them had long hair. How proud they would be if they had the shape and then they had their long hair and all this. Come on, bro. In that day, the Lord will take away the bravery of their tinkling ornaments about their feet and their calls, and their round tires like the moon, the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, because we used to wear, like, our women used to be decked out, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs, and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings, the rings and the nose jewels, the changeable suits of apparel, and the mantles and the wimples and the crisping pins, which that was to straighten the hair, the glasses and the fine linen, and the hoods and the veils. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, which is very, very attractive on a woman, when a woman has a sweet smell, she goes up about 2-3 points from me. I don't care if she was a 6. If she had a sweet smell with her, man, golly, whatever it may be, but a natural smell, not no stink, chemical smell and perfume, like a natural type smell. Man, it's heavy, A lot of them Edomite women, they, sometimes you pass them, they got a good smell to them, man. Latina woman, It says, and it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink, and instead of a girdle, a rent. Okay, so the stink is also coming from that midsection, man. And instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of a well set hair, baldness. That's why you wonder why women look like that. That's because the Lord has cursed them because of their pride. Okay, but they don't even perceive that, And instead of a stomacher, a girding of sackcloth and burning instead of beauty. Yeah, so you want to colorism? No, some of y'all are just ugly. It ain't about color. It ain't got nothing to do with that. There's ugly light-skinned women, ugly dark-skinned women, and there's pretty dark-skinned women, there's pretty light-skinned women. But then, you got, you have to understand there's also a curse upon our women. Okay? It says, thy men shall fall by the sword. Okay, so that's it on that. All right? So you got the curse of stink, got the curse of baldness, got the curse of being out of shape. That's all part of it, man. That's all part of it. Okay? So I said instead of a girdle or rent, a girdle is something that they used to put around the waist to tuck in their belly, man. A waist trainer, so to speak. All right, but now you completely out of shape, and that's what one of the things Kevin Samuel was getting on you about. But you don't want to hear that. No one can't tell you anything, man. No one can tell you anything. But as the saying goes, man, who don't hear shall feel. So, anyways, with that, Lord willing, that was edifying. I said a lot, so hopefully that was edifying through the Spirit. And I'll give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations, much love and respect to you, Akim, out there pushing this word out in truth and sincerity. Shalom.